tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, Flash fans! We are here with Season 1, Episode 10, Revenge of the Rogues, and we are so happy to be back from hiatus. This has been a horribly long break. I am Roxy Striar, alongside my favorite, Tauri Miller.
Hey, hey!
My other favorite, Ashley Daniels.
Hi, everyone! Missed you!
And not least or last, well, I guess last but not least, Jeffrey Masters.
Yo, yo, yo!
I think you're right the first time. I'm just kidding. Least but not.
Good to see you guys. Good night.
And we have a really, really special guest here tonight. He's little, but very important.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun,
Is it
dun,
Ant-Man?
Is Little Flash.
Can we put it in the middle? I feel like little should be in the middle. Like,
Oh,
for all
good.
of us.
You just want to hold little. You can hold little.
I do, but I also just thought like we can all share.
For anybody who's listening on iTunes instead of on YouTube, we have a little mascot now, a stuffed animal, Mini Flash. So if you want to check it out, you can switch on over and see us on YouTube or on AfterBuzzTV.com. But hopefully, if Roxy can remember, she'll bring him in every week.
There we go.
Just switch to third person. It's been an interesting night. All right, guys, let's get into this. What do we think of the mid-season premiere of the show?
Incredible.
Yeah,
Words,
super fun.
it was just what we needed, a big bang. We needed to come back and, get everything that we've been waiting for. And I think we got that tonight. They did not fail.
How did you feel, Tari?
I thought it was really good. Because not the last season, but the first half of the season, Captain Cold was the fan favorite villain. And so, the best way to follow up the Man in Yellow is with, someone that everybody loves. Which, in this episode, was super comic booky, so it made me giggle.
It was. It did feel like it had that comic book tone to it, especially when we saw in the backpack. I loved that one moment that he had. It was really cute. Jeff, did it live up to expectations?
Oh, absolutely. I love ongoing storylines, if that makes sense. I'm not that much fan of the Law and Orders where it starts and it finishes on every episode. So I like that this villain came back and their storyline is continuing to next episode as well.
Right, because we do have a lot of big bads that are only every single week, and we see them, they come and they go, and they come and they go. But this show is not killing a lot of them off. So you would have to assume that many of them will come back at some point, which I like when they bring it back on. So it's not just episodic. You can start from beginning to end and have one villain. And because we enter with these hero songs, for anybody who didn't know, every week we enter with a new hero song. What was this hero song that we entered with tonight?
Save Me by Remy Zero.
And it was a Smallville shout out.
Yeah, I was introduced to me, at least Remy Zero was, during Smallville, was the theme song for, I think it was the 10 or 11 seasons it lasted for.
I hope we get 10 or 11 seasons of this show.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we will.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we have a little news and gossip about the seasons that you will have to stay tuned for, but we will get there after we cover tonight's episode.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. We've got our big bad, not of the week, but of a few weeks, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that, of course, we have Captain Cold and we have Heatwave. Mm-hmm. This was a really strange experience for me. As I told you guys, I'm coming from Prison Break.
Yeah.
I love that. Watching them and their dynamic as brothers on that show, and then them over here, and they're kind of breaking out of prison now and doing whatever it is. It was really cool to see these two back in action together, and I feel the chemistry coming from them and that they're loving it. What did you guys think about that dynamic together? This fire and ice kind of thing.
I was never exposed to them on Prison Break, but their dynamic from day one of this episode, I guess tonight, about minute one. I loved it. I love seeing I always love seeing villains fight each other. They had that argument scene. I thought that was so exciting. I like seeing the villains fight because they're on equal footing with each other. Mm-hmm. They both need each other to continue on, and they both want to use each other for the bigger thing.
It's interesting that you say that because the juxtaposition between the two of them that I love, how Captain Cold is so composed all the time and he seems like he knows what's about to happen. He's so smart, and Heatwave's kind of a hothead, pun intended. So I really like that back and forth, but they do need each other because they can't do it alone. So fire and ice. What were you thinking about them?
I thought that like they did a really good job of making themselves really distinguished. And it's like you said, like they played up their character type really well to where I would watch a show with just the two of them pulling heists because they were just that entertaining. And so
You see a spin-off coming?
that would be amazing.
Never know. Ash, how did you feel about their two characters, the interaction between them?
Same as you guys. You guys took all the good answers. But yes, I felt the same way. I think Snart, was
Shots fired.
just brutal. I mean, I if I have to pick one of them that I would like more if I had to, which I know you didn't ask me this question, but I'm just changing
No, that's
question 'cause
fine.
you guys already answered. I would pick Heatwave because at least he is a little more, I don't know, he's a little more verbal, so you kind of can get a gauge on what his motives are. The quiet ones always scare me a little more.
Oh, see,
you
I
know?
disagree. I love Captain Cold. I love how calculating and smart he is. Like, I like these
From a
intelligent...
scared perspective, which one are you more scared of?
Well, I mean, I'm not fighting them on the street.
Yeah, but if you were, I'd be more
you never
scared.
know.
Yeah.
As of today.
Yeah.
I mean, watching them on TV, like, I'd rather watch the calculating, smart villain who's, like, intelligent and not gonna, like, just, like, get mad and blow stuff up.
Yeah, I would say that Heatwave is more classic villain type because he's just like this brute force and whatever it is, which is why Captain Cold scares me a little more because you don't know what you're gonna get and you don't know what he's thinking. And you know,
And sorry, not to interrupt you. And as we know today, you don't know what he's planned.
Right.
well, we really don't know what he has planned. I still don't know what's going on. I mean, I know this is jumping ahead in his storyline a little bit, but what we see at the end of the episode tonight, they're going to Iron Heights. We're all kind of saying, uh-oh. I'm more thinking, uh-oh, because of Barry's dad. And I'm like, how could somehow he find out about this or what's going to go on? That's what I was thinking.
I didn't think about that.
But then, I mean, you could see it in his face. He wasn't scared at all, nothing. I mean, what were you guys thinking when they were in the back of the car? Did you think that there was any way they were going to escape, or what was going through your guys' heads?
Well,
No, please start.
well, I had a feeling when they had him in the precinct and he was being his normal self and he was kind of talking down to the cops. And I was like, something is going to happen. I didn't know if it was going to be in the precinct or afterwards.
Right.
And so I wasn't as surprised that they escaped, but I was surprised that it was his sister.
Because who did you think it was going to be? Did you have any idea?
I didn't. I had assumed it was just going to be someone random or like maybe someone we had seen before. Or I kind of wanted it to be Girder just because I like weird things to happen.
Yeah, cool. Ash, what were you thinking when they were in the back of the car?
I did not assume that anybody was actually going to be there. That was like, I was really one of the very few that was very surprised.
You thought they were going to get to Iron Heights?
Yeah, I thought, because I just feel like that's just the point where it was going to leave us hanging. Like, are they going to get there? And like, then they'd pull up and like, then the scene ends. But I do want to make a note that I was reading, so I'm not going to take credit for this, but someone mentioned that tonight was the first time we saw the supervillains, that the supervillains made it their actual goal to kill the Flash. And it's a good point to make. Because,
Yeah, I don't think it'll be the last time though.
yeah, but it's the first time we see that, so.
Yeah.
Especially now he's on everybody's radar. So before, there was probably no one who could make it their mission to kill the Flash because nobody really knew the Flash was out there.
Right.
Now the Flash is open and out there and people are seeing he's no longer the Streak. He has a name. It's the Flash. How do you guys think that will change this show? And are more people going to be, and we see some people in support, but are more people going to be hunting after him?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I assume that was part of Snart's plan. So, because it seems like he's building a team. So
Right.
if you're going to build this group of people, you need to give them kind of a lightning rod to gather against.
But I think that's a little bit too, like, abstract for Snart. I think it's something more specific.
Like what?
I have no idea, and that's why I'm kind of, like, curious at why he's so happy that people know now.
Right, because I feel like he doesn't leave much to chance. So
Right.
it's not just like, oh, maybe somebody will come across him at some point.
That idea, while I think it will happen, is a little too, like, loose-ended for him. You know, like, it could be, like, 10 years. I think this guy has a plan and has, like, a specific timeline.
I would agree with that. I don't think Heatwave is in on the plan, as we see tonight.
Right.
Heatwave's kind of in his own universe. I mean, the fact that he is so easily persuaded that when Captain Cold's like, let's take over the city and make it our playground, and Heatwave takes his fire gun and burns a $25 million painting. I mean, isn't this supposed to be a guy who's driven by money and power? It was very confusing. Did anybody else think that was out of character for him?
No. I mean, he's hot-headed.
Yeah.
Like his power, he's fiery. No, I think that...
So many puns all night. Keep them coming.
Captain Cold is offering him the city. And with that will come money and, like, maybe, like, you'll need to have $25 million.
Right, because you can have $1 billion of a whole playground. So.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all were a little upset about, like me, about the painting. That, like, I was like, what is this thing?
As they're walking off the plane, Jeff's like, it's small. I was like, oh, who's small? You're like, no, the painting. Like,
Good things come in small packages.
I'm
no,
saying. Like,
he's drinking too much.
it's because he was offended by the small comment.
Was.
exactly right.
He
Oh
fell
my
right
God.
when it said that. I'm small too, so we both got offended by that. I'm 5'2". So.
Okay, back to the
with you,
painting
girl.
though. When they were talking about $25 million and they show the picture, I'm thinking, oh, it looks fairly simple, but like it's Rothko size. It's massive.
Yeah.
And they come off. I'm like, oh, I saw that at IKEA. They just sprayed it in half of it red.
I was thinking Bed Bath & Beyond, but
Yeah.
maybe they got from the same buyer, you know?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, that mass production
Yeah.
probably.
Oh, man, I hate when they do that.
How
yeah,
dare
but
they?
I agree. They could have done a little better job, but all of their money is clearly going to the other production values because this had some really cool stuff. I mean, think about when we saw Barry take he's got the drones coming at him, and then the missile comes, and we think he's going to run away, but instead he runs to the missile. He grabs it and like slow-mo twists it the other way. That was so cool.
Yeah.
We've seen him run up the side of the building. We've seen him do a lot of stuff, but we haven't been introduced to this drone, him training. I thought it was really cool to watch. I love watching the Scooby Gang and Barry. What else could they do to make him faster? Like, are they going to unleash... I don't know. I guess tigers and lions wouldn't even be close to faster.
Yeah,
but like,
right.
No.
what can they do to make him faster than drones and missiles?
I mean, I think the next step would be to try to have him run all the way around the Earth and see how fast he could do it. And then, like, each time he does it, try to get faster and faster and faster.
He seems like he needs something chasing him, though, in order to get to that speed.
Yeah, the incentive, it has to be trying to save somebody, or I mean, obviously the incentive is, in that case, he had he had somebody kidnapped that he loves. He wanted to go and make sure they were okay.
Right.
Right.
He needs to either be running to something or running away from something in order to get to that maximum speed.
All I can think about though when they're like trying to improve his speed and like reflexes is I think it's like the Cons of Monte Cristo or something, the count where like they're in the water's dripping and like they're trying to get their hand underneath the water between the next drip. And I just like imagine him like in like a drippy jail cell just being like trying to get
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
Do you guys feel that the special effects have gotten any better since we've watched it? Because I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like they're like faster and crazier than ever before.
I felt like they were great from day one, but what I do think is that they've gotten more creative with them. Because other ones we've seen before, I feel like just they were cool, but with the chalk writing or the white writing when he was calculating things, whatever it was, I thought that those were always cool. But this is more creative, I think. Why, are you guys thinking that special effects have strengthened?
I thought they did, but it could be also that we had two villains. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
I thought they were always strong from the beginning, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, like the chalk lines about like the tire marks are like 3 feet, and like this is that feet. I really enjoyed that kind of stuff. Actually, I kind of missed those graphics.
I think that they'll make a comeback because I do think a lot of people like them. I remember you saying that, Jeff, from day one, that you hope they would stick around.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
We're not seeing as much of his brain calculations. Like today, when we see him, we'll talk about this later, obviously, but he has to read something really fast. We don't see how his brain is operating, and that would have been a cool time to throw that in there. I agree.
Yeah, of course, there's like little extra bits, but it's like it's I don't want to say easy, but it's like easy to see like an actor being like, oh, it's 3.5 inches and that looks like a Mustang versus like showing the graphic. It kind of like helps tell the story, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
I think
cool.
they probably shied away from it because it's very heavily used in shows like Sherlock and stuff like that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So they probably were.
Why
like,
would
"All
that
right, we
make
wanna
them shy away, though?
So because they want to stay distinguished. They because I mean anyone who's a big Sherlock fan or I forget what other show uses it, and it's used in movies sometimes, so they don't want to be compared to those, so they want to just have their own way of doing things.
Oh, that's interesting, though, that they started out with it then, instead of, like, saying no from the beginning.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe they didn't realize and
Maybe.
got comments on that. I would think that'd be an interesting thing to shy away from, because I bet they have a lot of similar fans and people
Yeah.
like to feel that homey feeling, like, oh, this show's gonna take care of me.
Yeah, it's kind of like the tricks on, like, The Mentalist, how he's, like, very, like, intuitive. He can, like, spot, like, the coffee cup that should have been twisted this way, and so that means this. It's just, like, helping clue you in on it.
Yeah.
And, like, on the journey with him.
What do you guys, changing topics a little bit, but somebody who's trying to clue him in always, I feel like, is how I got there. What about Wells and what he's always saying to Barry at this point? I mean, where we left off, we were thinking he was the Reverse Flash, but a lot of people aren't thinking that. And you guys at home have been commenting amazing theories.
He came out and spoke about this at the TCAs on...
Who's he? Grant Gustin?
Yeah. No. Kavanaugh.
Oh.
What's his first name?
Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys already know that.
What
Yeah,
he
go
say?
ahead.
Tell us.
Okay. Well, he basically said that
This is in terms of whether he is or is not
Yeah.
Reverse Flash.
he says that he is. Trying to find the exact line.
Oh, really?
Well, it
yeah.
was something to
Well,
the degree of, like, he is the Reverse Flash, but which Reverse Flash was?
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
There are so many different
But-
versions.
so
I'm sure
why-
that's such like a
He
coached
says-
answer. They're like, you can say this only.
Yeah,
Right.
of course. And he's been around for a really long time, so he knows when to take the coaching.
Right. He says,
Yeah.
yes, I am. The Reverse Flash said that a couple days ago at the CW's TCAs.
That's the quote. Yes, I am.
interesting.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am Reverse Flash. Kavanaugh told reporters during the CW's The Heroes and Villains of Arrow and the Flash panel.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they would allow him to say that.
Exactly, but they go on to say that, you know, how we believe, you know, the Reverse Flash supposedly killed Barry's mother.
Right.
But in episode 17, we're going to get more information about that night through the perspective of the Reverse Flash and not of Wells.
Excellent.
That's
So-
Oh, and not
interesting.
Wells.
Yeah.
So through a different Reverse Flash.
Well,
Or you just
Yeah.
mean through that character?
yeah, through that character. Yeah.
You know, it's confusing stuff to talk about because, like you're saying, he's so rehearsed in his answers, and sometimes I feel like they could be throwing us a swerve. It's like,
Yeah.
he's the Reverse Flash, but we know that there might be two of them, and that's what we're theorizing. And also, is he this evil creature, or is he also trying to help Barry? Because the Reverse Flash, just the actual character, is always trying to push Barry to be better. He's like, he is a villain, but he really isn't like out to kill Barry.
And also, when he was trying to get Barry to not go after Captain Cold, I was like, well, then what do you need from Captain Cold? Like, what do you need him to accomplish?
I don't even think he was trying to get him to not go after Captain Cold because he needed Captain Cold. I thought that he just wanted all of the attention on Wells. He wants all the attention on the Reverse Flash because he's obsessed with that dynamic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he views Captain Cold as small potatoes, but he wants
Right.
the Flash to become like what he know. I mean, we know that he knows future events, so he wants him to become the future version that he knows of.
Yeah.
But Joe has been kind of on to him.
Yes.
And from the beginning. And then he was off, and then they got coffee, and there was all that weird stuff that came out about Wells's past and his divorce, the wife that died, or whatever it was. But now I feel like Joe is on to him again.
Yeah.
Because of the priorities thing, which was really interesting. You know when you can just tell somebody's regurgitating information?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's exactly what was happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that Joe is going to catch on to Wells, for lack of a better word, shenanigans at some point. I mean, do you guys
Right.
think that that's how they're going to solve this whole...
Well, they do say it in the same day at the TCAs. It did say Kavanaugh said that there's just one Reverse Flash.
Oh, did he?
Yep, there is just one Reverse Flash, quote unquote. And that should raise some crazy theories, including whether Harrison is an older version of Eddie. And they said that Eddie's name was not an accident. And we'll find out later in this year why that he was named.
So if there's only one Reverse Flash, it doesn't mean there couldn't have been two people there at that time. It means that there could be two people there during the death. But either A, it could be a different version of the Flash coming to fight the Reverse Flash, or it could be two different versions of the Reverse Flash at two
they
different
could live
times.
on different
Yeah.
different time zones. Exactly.
Right.
It also
exactly.
could be like he only knows that season 1 so far. It could be like that in this season. There's only one Reverse Flash.
Right, of course he can't know that far into the future.
But I'm saying, so is that possible that Harrison he said he's a reverse. Okay, I don't know. I'm just wondering if like Wells is a Flash eventually, if Eddie's a Flash eventually, as we know, and then this other guy's someone completely like a third party.
Right. I'm not surprised by the fact that his name is on purpose, though, Ashley, because we keep hearing them say that they're trying to stick close to the comic books. We're trying to stick close to the comic
they've
books.
such like an innate knowledge of the comic book. There'd be no way that it would be he'd be named Eddie Thawne if he's not, you know.
Yeah,
Right. Unless they're trying to throw us off, but it sounds like they're not.
Well, it says Eddie's connection to the Reverse Flash lore is going to pay off big time in the back half of the year. And I'll tweet this exact where I'm reading all this right now. I'm going to tweet it out to you guys right now.
What's the handle that you're tweeting from?
Ashley Daniels.
Great.
Yeah, mine. Hi,
Cool.
I'm Ashley.
A lot of things up in the air.
Yeah, there are a lot. What about the rest of the Scooby Gang? We've got Wells, who's trying to convince him not to go this way. We've got Cisco, who's pushing him really hard because Barry's asking for it. And we've got Caitlyn, who people are talking. There's a lot of snowberries out there. There's a lot of snowberries. People who are loving this relationship. I wasn't seeing the fireworks as much tonight. I just have to throw that out there. What about you guys?
No, they're just friends.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
All right.
Between who again? Sorry, I was tweeting.
Caitlyn and Barry. I wasn't seeing
No,
fireworks
nothing.
tonight.
I've never seen fireworks. But you have not. Well, this is different. This is a different story that I'm hearing.
Well, it's because they're finally working together to figure out Firestorm.
Mm-hmm.
So let's.
Well, yeah, because you're seeing her, especially from last time where, she was so hurt by.
Guys, I got to pull out the notebook here. I made you guys rewind this 15 times so that I could write this down. All right. Firestorm. Fusion, ignition, research, experiment, science of transmutation, originating RNA and molecular structures, Firestorm. Did I nail it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like I have it written down. I was testing you.
I was expecting stop.
Yeah, I could have said anything.
I really feel like I just did a very good performance, and then there's nothing.
Sorry, I was just like
we were so
we were in awe.
We were in awe.
Speechless.
Maybe a bow down.
Yeah.
Or, woo, Roxy.
10.
Bowing down.
There we go.
Bowing down.
Sean's the only one who cares about me.
Also, I know what like one of those words mean.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, and that's why we're going to my left to explain it a little better. That's on you, Tauri.
Well, it felt like they were just like, we need an acronym. Find a science dictionary and put them all together. So
I can't say that I'm familiar enough with Firestorm's character to know, is this true? Has this been true in the DCU always that Firestorm has stood for this? Or are they using this whole paper now just in this version of The Flash?
As far as I know, it's just for this.
Okay.
I think it was just a way to give them a lead. And so, because like Firestorm was just the character name. I don't believe it was the name of his research.
I think that Cisco's going to be really upset that there's a name that he didn't come up with.
Yeah.
And we're going to call him Firestorm.
Also, longest acronym ever.
Seriously. And what kind of an acronym actually comes out to be a cool word?
And it has an acronym in it, RNA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Come on.
Yeah.
You tell him, Jeff.
You can't do that. Was that good?
Really good.
Also, the storyline that like began that with, is it Jason Rush?
Yeah, Jason Rush, the guy who wrote Firestorm.
Yeah, we got
co-wrote.
He'll be back in there next episode or the next couple episodes.
Yeah.
Right. So he co-writes this Firestorm thing, which is about turning. Oh, Tauri, make me sound smart. Creating new elements
Transforming
after.
Yeah.
It's about taking like elements apart and then reshaping them into new elements. So, for example, if you had I don't know, a carbon atom, and you wanted to make it into let's say boron, then you would strip it down to its electrons and its neutrons and its protons, and you'd smack it back together into something new.
I do that all the time though. Like that. What's special about that?
I was
Smack it
saying,
like
all
Beyonce
before-
smacks it. Smack it. Smack it.
Oh yeah, totally. And all before
Rub it
breakfast, you know, I do that every morning.
Totally.
Tauri, you were wrong. You cannot do that because boron is ahead of carbon on the periodic table.
I have so much boron at home.
I would have never caught that otherwise.
Hold on.
We've got to have
I'm
some
just
sort
kidding.
of-
I have no idea.
Oh.
I was about to say.
All right,
'cause if
guys,
it was-
this is getting boron.
No, we need a sound bite like nerd alert, nerd alert.
We're like wannabe nerds.
I know, it's amazing. But the point of this all is that he was writing this with Professor Stein, who we know is half of Firestorm. So I don't know how on earth they're gonna work with this. They say that at the time of the accident, or Jason says that he went to go find funding, and I'm assuming, I mean, what I would have to think is that he went over to Star Labs, and that's why he was there when Ronnie was there, and that's how somehow the two of them merged. Because maybe he went to go talk to Wells about funding or Star Labs about funding.
Yeah, I'm just still uncertain about how they're gonna do that because we saw Firestorm and he was a single human being.
Well, I think it's gonna be a voice thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But we also already saw
Martin Stein.
Yeah, Richard Garber's character, Martin Stein. We saw the picture of him tonight. So maybe somehow they can figure out a way to split themselves apart.
I mean, for all we know, he can like open his jacket and you're like, "Hey, Martin!" Like there's a little baby head.
Like a
that
kangaroo?
scene in Total Recall.
Wait, what's a little kangaroo called?
a baby.
A
No,
Joey.
they're called a Joey.
Joey.
A baby. That's a little Joey.
He's a Joey.
Small flash
He's
Joey.
I think it's interesting though, with last month's episode. I remember how how Wells mentioned how he promised Caitlyn that he would bring Ronnie back.
Yeah.
So it just jumped in my head right now because we're talking about him being the reverse Flash and everything, but like obviously to promise something like that means that it's almost like he knows it's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Right. It's interesting that you say that because every single word he says, I think, means something. Like when
It sticks with you.
it
A
sticks
month
with you.
later.
And tonight he looks at Barry and says, "I hope we're not enemies," and almost had like a smile thing about it, or whatever he's saying. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
It just always
right.
feels calculated.
Right,
Yeah.
because
And I
he
think-
knows.
Yeah, I think it's like the writing, but also I think like Tom Cavanaugh's just like so perfect for this role.
Yeah.
It's true.
You
It's
like
true.
trust him and he's friendly, but you're like, but why do I actually trust him? I don't know.
I was
Right.
surprised we didn't see him in his future room tonight at all. We didn't see
I
him
think we got
talking
enough of
to-
that last time.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They're probably putting it on the back burner a little bit. Like, let you sit with this.
Yeah.
Because sitting for 6 weeks without our show wasn't long enough. You need to sit with this longer.
Right.
We're being punished.
We
Why
are.
are we being punished? I'm just kidding. Just being able to watch this show is reward enough. So Caitlyn she's looking for Ronnie. I mean, is anybody nervous about what happens when she finds him? Like, what is she hoping to find? She knows that, she says at one point, "Oh yeah, well, my fiance can fly." Does she want him back anyway? Does she have questions? Like, what does she want?
He said, "Don't come find me."
Right.
Next time. I mean, so it's almost like she's just living on. I mean, I don't know. I think what Wells said is just going to make her feel like there's some optimism, there's some hope that like that everything can be the same as it was before. I mean, she keeps on reliving moments in her life, like when she was with him, and I just feel like if someone like Wells tells you anything, you're gonna believe it. He's very persuasive.
I know, he's convincing. I agree. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about this weird love triangle we got going on. It's strange.
Oh, Barry, Cisco, and Wells.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what I was
exactly.
I've
thinking
been thinking
about.
about it all week. I can't believe it. It's so
Yeah, so I just don't know who I want to win Barry's heart out of Cisco and Wells is tough. Of
I am
course.
so. Oh, sorry. I'm already like, no, wait a minute, Iris.
No, yeah, we're talking about Iris, of course. So Iris is moving out. We know that because she got a key. It wasn't a ring, it was a key. She's moving in with her boyfriend that we don't trust. I'm sorry, I'll speak for myself. I don't trust.
We don't
Dude, her
trust him.
boyfriend, who is her police father's partner and also works with Barry on a daily basis.
Isn't this fast? I know it's been months, but like, I don't know. And it's just creeping me out, man.
They're almost a year in.
I know, but just something about him. And it's so weird because I feel like both Barry and Eddie are pining over her, but like, Barry is such a person on her level. They're like both kids and they're young. And Eddie is just, I feel like he's in such a different place in his life. He's in the police force and he's working with her dad. And it's just strange to me. Anybody else?
Yeah, it is. I think it's distracting, though. I think it's kind of, when you're young, why do you want to? Some people just think that it's easier to be with the person that they don't assume to be a person that they could marry, because when you decide to be with somebody that's like marriage material, you're kind of basically saying, okay, I am taking the next step in my maturity and I'm going to be with somebody that I could settle down with.
But
This
moving
is kind of
in.
like, I know, but I don't think the physical aspect of moving in makes it any more serious in her head. I think she's just doing it. I just think she's acting. I think honestly, all she cares about is the Flash. That's the only thing going through her head. Whatever she's doing, it's just like, okay, I'll just go with it. She's got this boyfriend. It's easier to stay with him than break up with him. But I don't think it's as serious as it looks. I just don't think
I'm
she's...
gonna be on the other side of this.
Ooh,
Like,
duke it out. We'll see who wins Little Flash.
Yeah.
I
So he's sitting with me, so...
well, not for long. I actually think that they are in a like. I don't see any negative in Eddie at the moment. Like he gets a little bumbly, but like he has a steady job. He gets along with your father. You be playing the role
Kind
of
of.
Iris right now. I mean, they get along. I mean, and when he's first introduced, he's like a hotshot. So he's good at what he does. Like, so I mean, he's as far as we know, he is like a normal guy who is pretty decent, and he's nice to her and everything. Like, there's no reason.
Okay, answer this. Does he look at her the way Barry looks at her?
No.
Right.
But let's talk about him being good at what he does for a second, because this was really interesting. Obviously, he doesn't know it's Barry, but tonight...
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
He was able to save the Flash. Yeah. There was this whole thing with these shields, and they didn't trust the shields, and the Cisco thing, and finally, Eddie takes the shield, and there's fire and there's ice, and he doesn't know how it's going to be, and people have already gone to the hospital, and he doesn't care, and he runs out, and he protects the Flash. The Flash would have died. I mean, that's huge. How can we say that he's a villain when he did that tonight? I don't know. So, yeah, I would agree. He's good at what he does, and I think that he knows how much Iris loves the Flash, or at least loves in a friendship, whatever it is. So I feel like a big part of him did it to protect the person that Iris cares about, which is pretty big.
That's a good point. I just don't see any future for them. I think it's just in the moment, this is what's happening. And I think also that who else is she really going to go to right now? She does not see Barry yet the way she's going to see him at some point. It's just like time will tell. She's going to open her eyes one day and really see it.
Oh, well, I think she'll open her eyes though when she figures out that Barry is the Flash. Like these two loves up for
that's
her life.
such a mean time to open her eyes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I
You're
love
a
you, Barry,
millionaire
now.
now.
Yeah.
You won the lottery?
It's like that fascination,
Exactly.
though, is like also a person that you love, and then she sees him differently. I also don't actually think this is like a triangle. I think that we're like conditioned from like Twilight and stuff to see triangles everywhere. I think that she and Eddie have both made their choice, and Barry is just like forlorn.
So it's a T, like the two of them over here, and then he's just kind of down there chilling.
It's life.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'm trying to
unrequited
put a word or a label on it, because that's what makes human beings feel comfortable. But really, this is I can't, and it's life.
It's a Ben and Jerry moment.
Yeah, I don't know, but I will say that I thought Barry was very mature about the way he handled it tonight. And he goes over there, and she gives him the backpack. Then he goes back over, and she's moving in with him, and he says, I can see the future. And I was like, you lie, that's not your power.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, are you telling us something?
Yeah.
And then we find out, he's making a little joke about how they'll be fine. So I thought that was very big of him. I mean, and then what do you think about the fact that he told Joe that he told Iris? Joe's like, that you're the Flash? I thought that was crazy. Him and Joe, it's got to be a little awkward.
I was just going to say the word awkward. It's just super awkward. It's almost like you feel like when you take a risk like that and you tell somebody how you feel about them and then they deny you, then you're stuck. You can't rewind time, and you just wish you didn't say anything to begin with, because now it's awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
And Iris isn't the only one making moves now, guys, though. Barry decides to move back in with Joe. Why is the show doing this? I feel like there's a clear reason that he's moving back in, and we're setting ourselves up for something. What are we trying to accomplish by having the two of them live under the same roof again? Is it like a cop loves cop forensic situation?
I was trying to figure that out too when that happened, and I have no idea. But I really feel like the writers are doing this for a very specific reason.
right.
I think we know that Joe has some. He knows that he has a lot more knowledge than we know that he does. There's a lot more that he knows. There's just certain situations where we see with Wells, or just certain things where we're like, okay, he knows what's going on. I think that he is protecting him, and he's. I don't think he's going to admit that, but I think that he needs to keep a closer eye on him.
But
now.
it was Barry's choice.
But yeah, I know, but I feel like it was something that once Barry mentioned it was something like, okay, well, good, this is a good situation for us both. Because if he could have very easily said, no, you need to be on your own, you need to be mature, you're growing up, and
I don't know. Remember the situation?
we could be protecting Joe.
Yeah, I think maybe protecting each other, but
Right.
what I was thinking about was a situation where I think we assume it's the Reverse Flash that broke into Joe's place and put up the warning signs all over the place. Barry wasn't living there at the time, so he wasn't going to find that, and he didn't know until Joe told him. But what kind of situation like that could happen that them living together would make a difference. That's the way where my mind was.
Well, I didn't see it as like a hero moment. I saw it as more of two characters finding themselves on equal footing. Like before, I mean, Barry's always seen Joe as like a father figure, but like I felt like this moment was them going, all right, we're both adults. We're both kind of now missing this piece of ourselves that's gone off to live with her boyfriend. So like, let's both kind of come together in that regard.
And be broy and have a beer.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't do anything to you.
No, not at all.
He needs the calories. He could have as many beers as he wants. Which is funny because unlike Barry and Wells, who Wells says, we're partners, and Barry was like, I was gonna say friends, but okay.
Exactly.
I do feel like at this point, Joe, yes, fatherly figure, but is also his friend. You know, they're not, I don't think, wouldn't call them partners. There's more of a friendship there.
Yeah.
So he's got those two who are clearly his mentors right now.
And I don't want to like read into it too much. I just want to know like what the reason was behind it. Because right now, like be it like there's a major plot point and they have to be roommates for it to like engage, or just be it like they want to like show a more fun side of Barry and he's gonna bring that out. Like I don't know.
It could be for comedic relief. Maybe they start getting into
Like
you
Odd
do
Couple
the
style.
dishes, no, you do the dishes. But they have lived together for so long, so I'd be surprised something like that happened.
Yeah.
Or maybe eventually Iris has to move back in, and then the three of them are living together again.
That's cute.
And there's some late night sneaking out of the room sessions.
I think it's a protection thing. I do. I think that it's not coincidence that 2 episodes ago we saw that situation that Roxy just talked about.
Right.
I mean, it would be much easier if the Flash were there to help in that moment.
Right.
Of course, I would want the Flash living in my house to protect me.
Exactly.
All the
I'm sure
time.
you'd want him
For
in your
other
house no matter
reasons.
what.
You guys know me too well.
I know.
That's why I bought myself a little Flash. What? Anyway.
Where'd you get him?
Let's move. You know, my brother bought him for me.
So sweet.
Yeah, at New York.
Chet, you're so cool.
New York Comic Con. Shout out to him. Okay, guys, let's move on to some news and gossip. Unless we haven't covered everything in the episode, moving on.
I think we did.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so this is the section where you guys will yell at me because I gave spoilers and didn't warn you there were spoilers. So instead, I'm giving the spoiler alert sound. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert.
Just kidding, you guys never yell. You're the best.
Spoiler
You're so sweet. We love you. Okay. Here's what we got going on.
Spoiler's been found. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
In episodes in future weeks. So right now we are on episode 10. I'm talking about episode 12. So it says, mark your this was from ET Online. Karaoke and alcohol equals best night ever? ? Mark your calendar. Barry Allen dusts his pipes off in episode 11. It's not a planned moment by any means. Gustin says with a smile, quote, we're in a karaoke bar and there's alcohol involved. But since Barry can't get drunk, who's the tipsy one? We don't know. He says someone is drunk. His singing partner is drunk. He teases, who could it be? It's someone we know, and it's
me.
very funny. Is it you?
It's me.
So I'm excited to hear the singing, the pipes. I do wish that Barry Allen, we could find a way for him to get drunk, because I feel like he'd be hysterical drunk. But drunk, karaoke, singing, sign me up. This happens to be the same night, though, that he is meeting his love interest. We already teased a couple weeks ago that from Vampire Diaries, Melise Joust, the actress who's playing Linda Park, is coming over, and I guess they're meeting in the karaoke bar.
Dorinda.
Ooh, is that their ship name?
Yeah.
Ooh, hashtag
Don't you think?
Dorinda.
Dorinda?
Yeah, that's a good one. I could see it.
Dorinda, yeah.
Barina.
Or
Yeah.
Larry.
What do you mean?
Larry.
Oh, Larry. Larry Brenda. Which one? I don't know. Okay, moving on. So we've got some stuff about time travel. So this is what the quote is. He said, Grant Gustin says, that's what I've always wanted, and now it's happening, slowly at first, but in a big way by the end of the season. And then talks about how in episode 15 is where it all begins. He says it gets logistically very confusing because we're now dealing with different timelines.
Interesting, because in episode 17, I just mentioned the Reverse Flash. We get his perspective on the night of Barry's mother's killing.
Right. So with the Flash, we know there's all different time travel things that they could go with, different storylines they could go with. We've heard all different, and people have their own theories on whether it's Flashpoint or Paradox, whatever it is. People are guessing one way or the other. I think we're about to find out, though, so the guessing might be over with. But he does go on to say, we'll relive a day twice in the near future. So I don't know what day that is, but that could be cool to see. How We Live
Might
at One
be
Time.
that day in
Could
the
be
perspective of
episode
Wells
17.
and then perspective of Reverse Flash.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so this is all nothing that is confirmed. Nothing. It's just speculation and just people's hopes and dreams. But because I also am on the Glee after show, and I'm a huge fan of Darren Criss, plays Blaine on Glee. I wanted to talk about the fact that Grant Gustin is pushing for Darren Criss to be on The Flash. Obviously, Glee is in its final season. They're wrapping up. The timing is right. He's saying that he's friends with some other people on the show, so they want Darren Criss on The Flash. I say we start a hashtag for it. Get Darren Criss on The Flash.
Yes.
That's too long. We need something more clever. Okay, moving on. We already talked about the fact that there would be a Supergirl on CBS, we were talking about how it might be tricky because CBS versus CW. You guys told us CBS owns CW. You guys are so smart. But here's what Grant Gustin said. He basically said he would be willing and would like to do a crossover episode with them. That it sounded a little exhausting. I'm sure coming off the Arrow one, he's tired, but of course he's all for it. He seems like a real trooper. Would you guys want to see that?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
I would love that. Speaking about crossovers, we're also talking about spin-offs, which CW does so well. And if you guys watch the Arrow after show, shout out to my left. I know that they talked a little bit about this, but there's supposed to be an Adam spin-off, potentially. There's supposed to be a spin-off. They're speculating that it's Adam. So the character Ray Palmer, who's played by the same guy who was in the feature for Superman, so Brandon Routh said, hasn't commented on it, but they're thinking that he might get a spin-off. I think this would be really cool. It'd be strange to not have the potential of him being with Felicity, but then you could be hashtag Felicity. I could go on about it. Thoughts on there being an Adam spinoff?
I think that would be really fun. I think it would be a special effects thing. Like it would.
So
just,
you'd watch the for the special effects?
I mean, yes, because I mean he grows and he shrinks, and so you'd have a whole nother world. It would be kind of like what the Ant-Man movie is going to be, but on a deeper level.
I'd be scared he could like get into my ear and do some weird stuff.
He could. Maybe he could control your brain. From,
Yeah. Would you guys watch an Adam spinoff? Because I know Adam is more Arrow focused and you guys are more Flash focused. Is that something you'd be able to just spin off to, or do you feel like want to avoid it a little?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting.
I mean, I'd watch it for sure. Why wouldn't I? I mean, I'd have to brush up on my Arrow stuff. But I feel like if you watch The Flash and you watch a few episodes of Arrow, you can jump right in. It's so easy to watch the Arrow too. You can literally just like binge watch it like Roxy does.
Yeah, very, very
She
true.
she rewatches it like over and over again.
I'm a binger. All right, a little bit of casting news, and then we'll get to predictions. So, Weather Wizard casting, and I know that sounds weird because we already saw Weather Wizard on the show, but apparently his brother has been cast, who is the real Weather Wizard now, and he's from Spartacus. His name is Liam McIntyre. If you guys like Spartacus, then I'm sure that you like this casting. I, on the other hand, don't know much about Spartacus.
He played Spartacus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this bit of news surprised me, but then I remembered, I believe that in the pilot for this, he was never named Weather Wizard.
Right. I don't think so.
I think that was a name that we gave him knowing the Flash world.
It might have been Cisco nickname for a little bit, but I'm not sure. This is
Maybe.
going to be the real Weather Wizard, and it
Yeah.
sounded like he was around to stay for a little bit. The other casting thing, it sounds repetitive because it's Trickster casting. We already talked about Mark Hamill being cast, but there's another Trickster being cast, which is the person who played Dexter, the young version of Dexter. His name is Devin Gray, and he's been cast as a Trickster, so I don't know whether this has to do with our time travel or what, but we have two Tricksters.
He's
we
like a
have two
trickster,
Weather Wizards.
parody. He's
a copycat.
He's a copycat.
Copycat.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys know better than I do.
Because the
That's
actual
why you're
trickster, I
experts.
believe, is still in jail.
Yeah.
He's gonna come
And is
out.
Mark
Mark
Hamill.
Hamill,
yeah.
Right. Okay, and that is your news and gossip for this week. Let's move on to predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right, so we're left with obviously our big bads getting out of this cup with their by the sister Lisa Snart, who Ashley informed me is Golden Glider. We already talked about her. I think Ash told us this the other week that she was from the Tomorrow people. She's played by Peyton List.
Apparently,
This
there's
is
two Peyton lists.
Yeah, there are two actress Peyton Lists. She's one of them. This is exciting. This was a cool twist. I love to see women kick butt.
Yeah.
Any other predictions? We see Pied Piper next week. Thoughts on him?
Yeah, that looks fun. It looks like a cool, comedic part.
Didn't we talk about him being the boyfriend of the
No.
Of the
Of
captain?
the captain, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like in the comic book, so
In the comic book,
clearly
yeah.
be here, yeah.
Yeah, but the captain already talked about on this. He was like, I have to go meet up with my boyfriend. So
It was like gluten free or something.
Yeah, and he like he named it.
judgy face over there. Whatever. All right, any other predictions from
My
our
tired
amazing
face.
panel?
I feel like we're gonna get something from the prison at some point. I feel like somebody is going to potentially get loose
From
and-
Iron Heights or from the prison that we have below us?
from the prison that we have below us. What did we name it? We've had like 500 names now.
I think it's called Pipeline, but
Pipeline.
Yeah, pipeline.
Yeah, I feel like there might be an issue with that.
Okay, Jeff, anything else?
No.
Tari?
No.
I'm just assuming that for the next few weeks, he's going to keep, he being the Flash, is going to keep knocking down villains, and then each one he knocks down is going to be gathered by Snart, and it's going to be the Rogue.
Snot.
They're making a rogue army. Yeah, they're gathering them up. Tell people where they can find you because they're going to be dying to talk to you throughout the week because this show's so amazing and they know how to talk to everybody else. Tari.
You can find me on Twitter at TariJ. That's TaurijAY.
And Ash.
At Ashley Daniels on Twitter and Miss Ashley Daniels on Instagram.
I tweet from Jeff Masters 1.
And you can find me at Roxy Striar. You can find us at AfterBuzz TV or on YouTube and on iTunes. Rate, comment, subscribe. We read everything you guys have to say. We love you guys so much. Thank you for being amazing fans of The Flash. And we will talk to you next week. Bye from Little Flash.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.